Relations between Australia and India were boosted by the high-profile visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi late last year, but both countries are now working to strengthen engagement on the defence and energy front. New Delhi is eagerly awaiting approval for Australia to send uranium to help fuel India's increasing demand for energy. Navdeep Suri is India's new High Commissioner to Australia. We spoke about his country's priorities towards deepening those ties.
I think it's a real sense of opportunity and responsibility to be in Australia at this point of time. Our Prime Ministers have met twice in quick succession and they've really given a momentum and a vision to the relationship. So I think for me personally, it's going to be much more intense bilateral exchanges at the political level. A lot more on the economic side to see what we can do to foster trade and investment on both sides. We need many technologies from Australia. We need Australian expertise in skills development. So it's something that we're very keen to work on. And we look at Australia as a major partner for India's energy security in the future.
And let's talk a bit more about that because, of course, your demands are high in terms of energy security. And there's this pressure globally to do it in a green way. How do you think we can work together to both do it in the right way?
Look, our needs are so large that we don't have options. We have 300 million people in India today who are without any access to reliable electricity. And what that means is, even as we try and meet the target of 100,000 megawatts from solar by 2022, and about 20,000 from wind and biomass and everything else, we will still continue to do coal, we will continue to do gas, we will continue to expand our nuclear capacity because we need each and every one of those elements in our mix. And from an India-Australia perspective, coal and potentially gas are going to be significant elements in that equation.
And of course uranium.
And uranium, for which we hope that in the next couple of months we would have finalized the arrangements and be ready to roll on that.
Yes, indeed. So those demands, I guess when we look regionally, China and India are these two really big emerging nations. China gets a lot of the attention. How does India sit with that, and how do you view your role alongside it?
Look, I think we are happy with the attention that we are getting now. Prime Minister Modi has really energized India as a country and its people. Plus India's image globally. I have met so many people who continue to talk about his visit even 6 months after the event. And I think when you look at both the World Bank and the IMF studies, which now show that India is going to grow this year at about 7.6% a year, the fact that India's acceleration is coming around the same time that the Chinese economy is, relatively speaking, slowing down a bit, the fact that in terms of demographics, we have a much larger percentage of young people in India who are going to continue to be in the productive workforce for decades to come. I think we have a few things going for us. And I expect that the international business community and certainly the Australian business community is going to look much more closely at the India growth story than they have in the past.
Do you think you can play a role regionally in a way, though, too, to minimise perhaps what people see as China's overbearing emergence?
Well, the reality of the rise of India is there. It is going to be a peaceful rise. We have, over the decades and throughout our history, demonstrated that we are a peaceful country and a large one. And as the weight and size of the Indian economy and its defense capabilities grow, it is going to be an increasing factor in the region. We're certainly talking with our friends in Australia about defence cooperation.
Yes,
We've
indeed.
just had a very successful naval visit into Fremantle last week. We're going to have our defence policy talks next week. So there's a lot happening between us. And I should emphasize that it's not intended against anybody.
No.
We're not in the business of balancing somebody or containing somebody or any of those things. But we do believe that we need a rules-based international system which respects the rights of each country. And to that extent, we're happy to work with our friends.
When you talk to business people as you move around, what are some of the obstacles?
I think lack of accurate information is a major obstacle. There are perceptions that India is a difficult place to do business in. And yes, in the past we have not been the easiest place to do business in, but it's been a rewarding place.
And is that because of perception of corruption, perception of perhaps the rules keep changing?
There has been that factor. Corruption's been an issue, bureaucracy's been an issue. But I think what the Prime Minister is demonstrating is a great deal of determination to cut through the red tape and to sort of lay out, if you will, the red carpets to the investors. And that's what he's trying to do with this Make in India campaign that he has launched. So we expect that the message is going to go through, that it's a $2 trillion market, it's 1.3 billion people, and if you have technologies and products that you think you're in the market for, then India is going to be a market that you can't ignore, and it's going to be a workplace that you can't ignore.
Not to mention culturally, the Indian community fits in so well, particularly at the cricket matches.
Well, yeah, I saw, Melbourne was rocking during the India matches.
Indeed, I think there were more Indians at the matches than Australians.
They're passionate. And yes, between the language and the cricket and the democracy and the parliamentary system, I think there's a lot that binds us. And so a country that may otherwise look relatively far and foreign isn't quite as foreign when you start looking at the similarities between us.
Well, lovely to have you with us, and we look forward to talking to you again during your stay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.